we are back. Thanks for clicking on the link. Welcome to Good Energy. Enjoy the content, and everyone have a blessed day. And we are back. Welcome to Good Energy, guys. Welcome. We will be covering the Miami Open WTA 1000 event, and this will be a preview and prediction video. For those that do not subscribe to my Patreon, make sure you do that right now. Last round, for all of the matches that completed, we predicted them correctly. That's right. Watch the last video and just listen. The reality here is we'll get back to work and we will do a preview and prediction video again for the round of 16. But first, let's quickly do a recap of last round. Kvitova versus Lauren Davis. This is a match that I had Kvitova winning, and she looked really good against Lauren Davis. Again, I said the first set, Lauren Davis will be the most competitive. She fades the second set. She's a front runner, but it's good to see Kvitova coming on again strong. Kalina versus Haddad Maia. This is a match that I said Kalina should win. She has more tools in the toolbox. She's more versatile, and that's exactly what she did. It did take 3 sets, so she dropped the first set, but Haddad, a little older, front runner, making her come back, probably getting her stamina back to where it needs to be. She did really good in Mexico, but the reality here is the day belonged to Kalina. That was a correct prediction. Pegula versus Rabinkina, and this is a match where Pegula was the underdog, and I said, hey, Pegula should win this match, and she did. It took 2 sets, and the reality here is Rabinkina, very strong serve, very strong forehand, but her movement is not all the best when she's dealing with the top 10, 15, 20 players. She can struggle, and sure enough, Jessica Pegula looked really good today. She was wearing the all black, and she meant business. She came out, stole the first set 6-3. She broke Rabinkina once, and that's all it took. She held serve the entire match, and that's going to get her into the round of 16, and her next matchup is going to be exciting. Iga Swiatek, again, this is a matchup that I said she should win, and the reality here is Iga looks really good. 6-love the first set, 6-3 the second set. Iga's playing very, very well this year, and with Ashley Barty gone, Iga Swiatek, she's the new #1, and it's tough to get it that way with someone, retiring in the great Ashley Barty. But the reality here is if Iga was going to win this tournament, there's a good chance she would have overtook her anyway. But the reality here is Iga is through, and next round's going to be great. Badosa versus Putintseva. This is a matchup I said Badosa should win, and sure enough she did. Putintseva, she can compete with any of the top 50 players, but the reality here is she does make a lot of mistakes, and she gets frustrated. She's hot-headed. She has a temper. And playing someone calm and composed like Paula Badosa, who you never really see get frustrated and upset, and someone that's really good. Paula Badosa has the skills to pay the bills, and Paula Badosa wants to climb the rankings. She wants to be #1, and she wants to win these big tournaments. And Paula Badosa advances to the round of 16. Next matchup will be exciting. Corey Gauff versus Zhang. I didn't spend much time on that, but I did say, hey, Corey Gauff will win that matchup. Sure enough, she did. It took a tiebreak in the first set. The second set, Zhang was up in control. Zhang had the break. It looked like we could possibly go to 3 sets, but Corey Gauff ran off 3 games in a row, came back, took the lead. Corey Gauff had the biggest draw in the Miami Open so far. She's from Florida, and that crowd was packed. They were all there cheering, excited for Corey Gauff. And a lot of these hometown ladies, when they're playing these tournaments close to home, they win them. Can Corey Gauff get past next round? If she can, she'll win the tournament. JABEUR versus Kalinina. This is a matchup I said JABEUR should win, and the reality here, she did. The first set, 6-3, second set, 6-love. However, the first set was a lot closer than it looks, and we will cover some of those results once I do the preview up next. But the reality here is JABEUR, once she got it going, it took a while. She looked really good, switching from forehand to backhand, and she primarily won this match from her forehand alone. Next match is going to be really exciting. Stay tuned for the preview and prediction on that, and please comment below, hit the like button. Kudermetova versus Rogers. This is a matchup I said was a lot. Kudermetova won 6-1 in the first set. Second set was a lot more competitive. However, Kudermetova did advance. The crowd was behind Shelby Rogers, being the American there. But the reality here is Kudermetova too active, too strong, and next round is going to be a great matchup. Make sure you stay tuned for the preview and prediction coming up. And once again, hit the like button. If you've listened so far, please hit the like button. It takes a lot of time to make these videos. And Big U versus SASNOVICH, and that's a match I told you that SASNOVICH should win, and that was a lock. But that match was brutal to watch. Anyone that watched that match, there were like 20 breaks of serve, and that was just horrible. That was excruciating. Both ladies will see their statistics on the year drop dramatically with all of those breaks of serve, and I can't really blame the conditions. Both ladies, you can essentially say, played their best and just forced the other to make mistakes. But SASNOVICH is through. Danielle Collins versus Veronika, and this was a match I said Danielle Collins would win. I said this was a lock as well. Veronika just a little older, dealing with the younger, strong, tough Danielle Collins. Danielle was just too much, especially in that first set. And the reality here is Danielle Collins having a good year. She's back, and she's gonna have a really tough matchup coming up next. But again, stay tuned for the preview and prediction video. Please like, subscribe, comment below if you've watched this far. Please like. Seville versus Veronika, that was another lock I gave out. Another win as well, and that was straightforward. Veronika just couldn't hang. She said she was injured and she ended up retiring. Bincic versus Heather Watson, but the good thing with the Seville match, I told people to take on my Patreon, take the first set, so that worked out well. Otherwise it would be a push. Bincic versus Heather Watson. Again, that's a match I said Bincic should win. Take Bincic for the win. Sure enough, Heather Watson came out strong. It was 4-4, and then Watson just faded. Second set, she disappeared. Again, like and subscribe, comment below. If you've listened so far, please hit the like button. ANHELINA versus Allison Riss. This is a match I said should go over, but for a winner, I said Allison Riss should win. And yeah, for all the matches that did conclude, there were a couple walkovers, one retiree with Azarenka. So guys, for the predictions, that's a perfect draw last round. So please subscribe to my Patreon, and it's worth it. You know, I'll give you a few picks that will work out for you. So let's get into the round of 16. It's a little tougher round here, but the reality here is we got some great tennis coming up ahead, and I will have my popcorn ready bright and early in the morning. And one by one they are dropping. If we take a look at the top seeds in the tournament, there are only 4 left in the top 10. That's Iga Swiatek, the number 2 seed, the number 5 seed Paula Badosa, the 8th seed JABEUR, and the 9th seed Danielle Collins. And yeah, one by one they are dropping. There's a lot of younger players on tour. They want to make money. They want to be the next big thing. Tennis is expensive. You have to pay your coaches, your trainers, your agents. There's travel expenses, there's food expenses, there's training, medical expenses. The majors are great because the coaches and a lot of the expenses are paid for. when they enter the majors. But aside from the majors, tennis is an expensive sport, and you have to win. And Corey Golf and Pegula, I mean, that's in Kudermetova. Well, actually, Kudermetova is a 21st seed, but Corey Golf and Pegula, that's it. Only 6 players left in the top 20 in this tournament. And the first matchup we will cover in the round of 16, and hey, since it's March Madness, let's call it the Sweet 16. Sweet 16, a ton of money up for grabs, over $90,000. Paula Badosa versus Fruhvirtova. And the reality here is Fruhvirtova, she's only 16 years old, but she is causing a storm on the lower level. She is winning title after title after title, and the reality here is last time I checked, I think it was maybe that match before Sloane Stephens, she was on a huge win streak. She's been running off 10, 15 matches in a row, winning titles. But the reality here is she's in the big leagues. She did look really, really good against Sloane Stephens early on, but Sloane Stephens made the adjustment and just put her away. The reality here. With Azarenka, before Azarenka retired, she was looking really good against Azarenka. But then again, you never know what you're going to get out of Azarenka these days. One time, you know, sometimes she'll look like the Grand Slam winner she is, and sometimes she'll just be done with it and just retire and quit. But you just never know with Azarenka these days. But Paula Badosa, this is going to be a different level. Now, we all saw the Indian Wells match between Paula Badosa and Azarenka, and some might say, hey, well, if she beat Azarenka, there's a chance she could beat Paula Badosa. Look, she's playing very, very well, but she's going to run into a person in Paula Badosa that's winning 69% of her service games. Her return game, she's winning 40%. And the reality here is she's saving 54% of her break points. If Fruhvirtova has a chance to break points, she's going to have to convert them against Paula Badosa. I don't know if we'll get to that point. I think Paula Badosa's ground stroke is going to be a little too strong for the younger player, but the younger player has a good support system. Her coaches, her box, there's a lot of people rooting for her, and she's making history. She's the youngest ever to make it this far in this tournament. But the reality is, just like St. Peter's in North Carolina, Fruhvirtova's run is going to end with Paula Badosa to advance. That's a lock. Is there a chance Fruhvirtova could beat Paula Badosa? Yes, anything's possible, but the reality here is, you know, if you put Paula Badosa against that competition Fruhvirtova's been playing on the lower level, Paula Badosa would probably be undefeated, but nonetheless, Paula Badosa to advance. And the second match we will cover of the Sweet 16 will be between Jessica Pegula, the 16th seed, and KALININA. Now, these two ladies do have a history together. They have actually played several times. They've played a total of 3 times, with KALININA taking 2 of the 3. The most recent coming at the Australian Open, and KALININA winning that in 3 sets. And before that, Pegula beat her in Daytona, Florida, and Orlando, but that was a few years ago. But yes, KALININA did win this year at the Australian Open, and the reality here is that win 3 sets. KALININA, she's winning 58% of her service games, 37% of her return games. She's only averaging about 1 ace per game, but she does have good placement with the ball, and she does have a good baseline game. She doesn't make many mistakes, only about 3 double faults a game, but she does gas. She does get tired, so that's something to look out for. Jessica Pegula is winning. She's winning 69% of her service games, so she's holding serve consistently, winning 20% of her return games. She's only she's about just under 3 aces per game, just under 3 double faults, and the reality here is she looked really, really good against Veronika, the last round. She looked really good against Elena. KALININA, though, has a different type of game, and KALININA, she doesn't have the power that Veronika can deliver. Now, Jessica Pegula did a really good job of handling Rybakina's power, but KALININA has more of a 1-2 attack. She can go deep with rallies, but she does like to hit winners that are a little bit more accurate because she has better movement. If you can move Rybakina from side to side, then a lot of her strength gets isolated and then she can make mistakes. You saw Rybakina net a lot against Pegula, and Pegula was actually standing inside on her serve. So Rybakina had a off day service-wise. The numbers show it. KALININA is not going to overwhelm you with a strong serve, but she's going to place it in spots where she can just set up the rallies and hit her winners. This is a match here that could go either way, to be honest with you. Pegula is a 3-1 favorite in this match, and I don't know why. The reality here is I would take KALININA on, she's getting 5 games on the spread. I would take KALININA +5. I mean, it's possible KALININA could even win this matchup outright, but my official prediction, KALININA +5 games on the spread and possibly an upset. She could upset this and it could go over as well. Alright, the next match we're going to cover here, the preview and prediction video for the Miami Open, is going to be Alison Riske versus Naomi Osaka. Alison Riske, obviously from the USA, and essentially Osaka is too, so I think the crowd's going to be probably split, if not favored more for Osaka. These two ladies have played twice. They split the head-to-head, but it's old data, so you can throw that out the window. But Osaka, aside from the 2 bad losses she's had to Anisimova and Kudermetova, she's actually having a pretty good year. She's 8-2 on the year. She's winning 80% of her service games, 37% of her return games, averaging about 5 aces a game, only 3 double faults, and she's saving 70% of her break points. Alison Riske, on the other hand, she's winning about 69% of her service games. She's putting up a couple aces per game, not many double faults, but she's making a lot of unforced errors. But Alison Riske is only saving half of her break points, and she's not really converting many of her converted options. This is a matchup here. Osaka, she's a big favorite. She's a 3-1 favorite, and I think that's rightfully so. I think Osaka will beat Alison Riske. Osaka advances to the 8. Osaka will advance to the quarterfinals, and watch out. I mean, Osaka is still Osaka. I just haven't really liked her form. I still think she's a little heavy, but she's still got the power. Having the walkover with Muchova, I thought Muchova would have been a really good test for her to kind of really gauge where she is, but Alison Riske, I don't see that being much of a test. This is a match Osaka's going to win. And the next match we're going to cover, I don't care how early it is in the morning, get your popcorn. This is going to be every bit of action-packed. Danielle Collins versus Ons Jabeur. This is going to be an insane match. Look, if you follow the channel, you know I'm a huge Danielle Collins fan. Danny Mull, whatever you want to call her, she is an animal. When she gets going with her commands, her fist pumps, her faces, her antics, she's intimidating. And someone like Ons Jabeur, who is very, very nice at times, I don't think she's going to intimidate Ons Jabeur, but this is going to be a good match. Danielle Collins, she's 10-2 on the year, winning 78% of her service games. Unbelievable. 39% of her return games, 4 aces per game, only making 3 double faults. She's converting 58% of her break points. Look, she's playing Ons Jabeur, who on the year, again, having a pretty good year. Ons Jabeur is winning 67% of her service games, 37% of her return games, putting up about 3 aces a game, 2 double faults, and she's converting 57% of her break points. Ons Jabeur has the variety to frustrate a lot of players. She can mix it up. She won last match against Kia Kanepi with her forehand. But if you watch that match, she was very frustrated early on with Kanepi's power. And that third game in the first set, Kanepi had a chance to break. Kanepi had 4 break points. She could not convert any of them. I felt that would have completely changed the match. And for a while there, Ons Jabeur was in trouble. She was very frustrated, and her outfit looked very uncomfortable for her at that time as well. This match here with Danielle Collins is going to be a really good one. These two, they've played twice. They've split the head-to-head, and the reality here is, I personally think that Danielle Collins is the underdog here. I think Danielle Collins is going to win this match. I think Danielle Collins, she's a little bit more fit, a lot more fit actually than Kia Kanepi, and Kia Kanepi has a really good forehand, but in terms of backhands, Danielle Collins has one of the best backhands in the business. Her backhand has the ability to disrupt any type of offense Ons Jabeur wants to throw at her. And I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say this is a lock. I'm going to take Danielle Collins as the underdog to upset Ons Jabeur. That's the lock of the day. Take it to the bank. Yes, Ons Jabeur did win the most recent matchup at the Indian Wells. But, I mean, and Danielle Collins won the previous matchup at Roland Garros. That went 3 sets. Ons Jabeur beat her last time at the 2021 Indian Wells in straight sets. But this is a matchup I think Danielle Collins is going to be too much for Ons Jabeur. And I'm going to go with Danielle to get the win. That's right. Danielle Collins. That's right. SASNOVICH versus Belinda Bencic. That's the next matchup we're going to cover here. And this is going to be a good match here. This is going to be a really, really good match. And SASNOVICH versus Belinda Bencic. Whew, 2 players that can bring the energy. And the reality here is they've played once. SASNOVICH won that match. That was a head-to-head one at the U.S. Open. SASNOVICH won that in 3 sets. And you know, again, older data, but the reality here is SASNOVICH, she's winning 72% of her service games, 40% of her return games, about 3 aces per game, 4 double faults, but her break points, she's only converting 46 of her break points. She's saving 55% of her break points, but that's going to be a lot lower after the last match where there's like 20 breaks of serve, so her numbers are going to drop dramatically. But she's active. She's 14-5 on the year. She's having the best year of her career that she's had in a very long time. Belinda Bencic, on the other hand, winning 74% of her service games, 27% of her return games, putting about 3 aces per game, 3 double faults per game, and the reality here is she's converting 54% of her break serves, and she has the power to disrupt people. She's a baseline player. If SASNOVICH can convert her drop shots, that's right, movement's going to be key. If SASNOVICH can convert her drop shots effectively and make Belinda Bencic move, Belinda Bencic, she's a baseline player. She is a long distance hitter, good backhand, transitions well to the forehand, but she's a long distance player. If SASNOVICH can make her move, it's going to be a long day for Belinda Bencic. Belinda Bencic, the experts have her as a favorite in this matchup. I think this is really a 50-50 matchup. SASNOVICH she didn't really look good last match, but I felt the conditions, early matchup, the conditions were windy. I just felt it got to her. I think just having a day to rest, and the reality is you're going to be playing in a much better environment. And the reality here is I think that this is a match that's going to go over. The best play I have in this match is the over. SASNOVICH is an over player. She can break you and get broken. So the best play is the over. If I had to pick a winner, SASNOVICH she looked so bad last match. If I had to pick a winner, I'd pick Bencic to win, but my pick is the over. As we move on to the next matchup in the round of 16, the Sweet 16, we have Seville versus Bronzetti, and Bronzetti getting the walkover. Seville looking really, really good against Sennikova, a good player. Don't let the rankings fool you here. Daria Seville is a good player, former ranked number 20 in the world. And Seville, she's having a good year. She's 14-6 on the year. She's very active That whole injury thing last tournament, I don't know. I think it was just kind of a butt whipping from Zachary, but the reality is she's 14-6 on the year. She's beating some tough players, and she's winning 63% of her service games, which isn't that great. 30% of her return games, not putting up a lot of aces, but putting up a lot of double faults, and I was concerned with that early on in the qualifiers for the Indian Wells. Bronzetti, again, good year, 14-6 on the year, very, very active, winning 61% of her service games, not making a lot of errors. Match could go either way, to be honest with you. I think the odds are very, very lopsided. I don't really feel comfortable backing Seville that heavy. Best play, I would take Seville to win the first set. That's my lock for this match. Both ladies are playing well, but my official prediction is take Seville to win the first set. This next matchup is probably the toughest of the Sweet 16 to predict, Kvitova versus Kudermetova. Both of these ladies are, well, Kvitova is left-handed. Kudermetova plays right-handed, but she also transitions well with her left hand. She can use both hands, especially her backhand is very strong. Kudermetova she's one of the top acers on tour. Okay, last year she was, if I'm not mistaken, top 3 in aces on tour, and this year she's averaging 5 aces per match. She's winning 78% of her service games, unbelievable, and she's winning 35% of her return games. Breakpoint save 63%. Her numbers are amazing, and she's having a really good year. And her camp and her team, they motivate her and they push her, and she fights and she fights. And she's very, very athletic. Kvitova, on the other hand, 8-6 on the year. She's I don't know, she's retired a couple matches, and in terms of her aces, she's averaging just over 3 aces per game. Her service games, she's winning 70% of them. Return games, 29%. Breakpoint save, 50%. That could be the difference in this matchup. She does own the head-to-head to love, which we saw her beat Kudermetova last year at Cincy in Madrid, and she won those matches in straight sets, but the reality here is Kudermetova is playing a lot better right now. Kvitova, the last couple matches, she's finding her spots, and that could be scary because she has a lot of power. She has a lot more power in terms of forehand than Kudermetova, and if she's finding her spots that easy, she could very well win this matchup. Like I said, this is the toughest matchup to call because the body of work points to Kvitova, but Kvitova hasn't looked that great this year. She struggled with SASNOVICH going 3 sets earlier, the Indian Wells, and the win against Lauren Davis, it's a win she should win, but I felt she looked good in terms of picking her spots. And official prediction, I'm going to take Kudermetova to win the first set. And again, this is the toughest match for me to predict on the card, but I do like Kudermetova to win the first set. That is the official prediction. Now, who wins the match? The match could go either way, to be honest with you. Kudermetova is playing very, very well. Kvitova has picked her game up the last couple games, but the lock is for Kudermetova to win the first set, and I would lean for Kudermetova winning the match. I would also lean towards the over, but the official prediction is for Kudermetova to win the first set. That's what I feel comfortable with. And the next matchup and final matchup of the Sweet 16 is going to be Coco Gauff versus Iga Swiatek. And this is a tough one. I mean, Iga is the more experienced, accomplished player at this point, but in the sense that the crowd is, Corey Gauff is from Florida. She had a huge showing come out to support her, and when the crowd is behind Coco Gauff, no matter where Coco Gauff travels, she's such a huge draw in the sport, and the reality here is she's one of the most popular players on tour. I mean, Coco Gauff, Emma Raducanu, Naomi Osaka. Iga is becoming more popular, especially with her ranking, but she doesn't have the stardom of a Coco Gauff in this sport. And when the crowd shows up overwhelmingly just to see Coco Gauff, that support and that energy that the crowd brings,
may shape this game. Iga, we've seen her mentally get stronger. I think recently, within the last 6 to 8 months, and really this year, let's say the last 3 months, we've seen Iga really mentally get tough and strong. And I think a lot of it had to do with the horrible defeat at the WTA finals. She was the first to exit, and it was just a bad showing for her. Mentally, I think she went to the gym. She travels with her counselor that helps prepare her mentally when she struggles, because she mentioned early on in her career she had a ton of struggles with things, and mentally she just wasn't there. And a lot of women get that way. You know, there's so much pressure on women nowadays, and you know, with so much pressure with women in society, Osaka's not the only one. Okay, all of these women, they deal with a lot, especially someone like Serena Williams being the top draw of the sport the last 20 years, being a mother, being a businesswoman, business owner, so many things, and an icon, a role model. I think that the crowd showing up with so much support for Coco Gauff, this is a match Iga should win. She has more consistency, she has more tools, and the reality here is Iga Swiatek, she's winning 72% of her service games, 54% of her break points converted. Those are the ones converted. She's saving 60% of her breakpoint save. And the reality here is she's only putting up 2 aces per game, but if you watch the channel, you know that I say all the time, Iga places the ball to where she can win these rallies. She sets up her serve she's an angle player. She's a type that she has several spots that she always goes to consistently on her serve, and when she hits those spots, the rally's almost always in her favor, which is why she's winning 72% of her service game. Coco Gauff, on the other hand, is winning 76% of her service games, but Coco's golf serve is one of the most sporadic serves on tour. She does not consistently hit the same spots. She's essentially just getting the ball in play with a lot of power, and she's averaging 4 aces per game, 5 double faults. That's a lot of points to give away to Iga Swiatek. She cannot make those double faults, and the reality here is she is doing a good job of saving her break points. She is making the mistakes to where she's being put in the position to have to save her break points. She's only converting about 39% of her converted break points. She's not going to beat Iga if she's not converting break points. So those are key areas she's going to have to fix if she wants to win this. She's got to close the deal when she has Iga on the ropes. And the statistics show that Iga, when she is on the ropes, she comes back with a Hail Mary that gets her out of trouble. This is a matchup here that Iga should win, but I think the crowd is going to be overwhelmingly cheering for Coco Gauff. Iga Swiatek's a 5-1 favorite. I'm going to recommend a play on Coco Gauff plus 6.5 games. That's a lot of games to give to the hometown kid. Well, she's 18. She's 18 now. She's a grown woman. Take Coco Gauff, buy her up to 6.5 games, and that should get you a win. Essentially, if Iga serves first each set, she just has to Corey Gauff can be broken once and she'll cover. If Corey Gauff serves first, again, one break, and you know, she can hold after that and she will win that for you. That's the prediction. Coco Gauff plus 6.5 games. Iga should win the match though. That's going to conclude the round of 16 preview and prediction video. Join my Patreon where I will put official locks on there, and those are the matches that I feel will definitely hit. That's why I call it a lock. That could change from what I say here. If something, you know, I find more research or more data that I study, then maybe I can put a different pick on the Patreon. That's why you want to subscribe to my Patreon. It's Winners Win. Link is in the description. But thank you guys. If you listened this far, please like, subscribe, comment below. The most important thing is to like the video. That helps it promote through the algorithm. But once again, guys, can't say it enough. Please like, and subscribe and comment below. These videos take a lot of time to make, but nonetheless, I appreciate you for listening thus far, and this has been good energy. Enjoy the tennis matches. We will be back for the quarterfinals and the semifinals. Enjoy.